going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
You ready?
Come on, it's the Queen of Royal Badness.
It's time for the Rob Report with Robin Ayers.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Robin's got a lot to talk about.
Inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580, where we bring you the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and interviews. I am Robin, your host for the day, with you guys Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. on that ride home. Happy Friday, by the way. It didn't look too bad out there for me, I gotta say. It was a pretty nice ride today. So, maybe you guys are already at home and you got off early this Friday. Whatever the case is, I hope you are coming into the Rob Report ready to enjoy the show. That was some good energy. That was Good Friday energy, Andy. That was nice. That's that Megan Thee Stallion. Is it the new?
New Megan Thee Stallion. Cobra.
Come on, DJ A+. Cobra. Okay, which I hear that song is already kicking up some controversy, but we'll table that for another day. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. And like I said, we were ready for Friday, and it's here. It's here. It's definitely here. We are looking forward to having a great show with you, as always. But I'm actually really excited because our contributor is in studio today, and you know how that goes. It's always just a lot better energy and all of that. Well, listen, if you do want to call in today, you can do that by calling 1-800-920-1580 if you have any ideas, any suggestions, if you want to disagree or if you want to agree, or if you would like to say hi. Hey, that's cool too. You can call in and again, that number is 1-800-920-1580. You can join us right now. Hey, y'all, I see you guys already coming on up into the YouTube chat. Good to see everybody there. So you can join us on YouTube as well, KBLA 1580. And I just discovered we do have some people watching online. We have people listening on the app and also listening on the radio in Los Angeles. So shout out to all of you guys as well. I have a quick question though. There is a rapper named The Game. Now, The Game is, he's controversial too. He says some things that are controversial, but he has a beautiful daughter. She's only 13 years old. Her name is Callie. And this year, he allowed her to choose her own costume for Halloween. Now, when I saw the photo of her, she looked like a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old. She looked like she was, pretty, she dressed like a football player or football-ish player. She has some, tights on, how they wear their tights, and she had on a jersey that was a crop top. Beautiful hair. She looked really cute, but she looked really old for her age. Is it appropriate for a child, a 13-year-old, still a teenager, is it appropriate for a 13-year-old to choose her own outfit if it looks a little bit older, I'll say, than what she actually is? I'll go ahead and put that in the chat because I do want to get started with a question of the day. But no updates, Andy. Let's get to the Rob Report.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
All right, we're talking about Sherri Shepherd today. Sherri Shepherd and the fact that she's paying child support for a child that is not biologically connected to her, nor does she have any relationship with. So that is actually very interesting. We'll open up that whole conversation, talk about the all the different angles of this particular topic. We're also going to be talking about Doug and Jackie Christie. Jackie Christie, you may know from Basketball Wives if you're into that. She's a reality star, but she has businesses and things like that as well. Doug Christie, her husband, a former NBA player who is now a coach. He's coaching with the Sacramento Kings. They get married, y'all, every single year. They get married every single year, 28 times, as a matter of fact, which is, I can't lie. I mean, they are doing it for Hollywood standards. 28 years is a long time, but we'll talk about the fact that they get married every single year. They renew their vows. They have an entire wedding, okay, every single year, and how she says that actually helps to maintain their marriage. We're going to talk about it all with our contributor on the other side. You are listening to The Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Eric Bellinger hanging out right here with my family at The Raw Report. Keep it live.
You're inside The Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life. To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news.
You're inside The Raw Report.
With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, so yeah, we have already in the poll. I want you guys to start voting on this if you haven't already. The question is, should a 13-year-old have the right to choose a costume that makes her look a little older / sexier? You guys let me know. Or should the parents still be involved? Yes or no? Should she be allowed and should she have that right? Okay, well, let's go ahead and move forward. I'm so happy to have with us again today in the studio for the Raw Report, Stephanie. Oh, how are you doing today, Stephanie?
I am good. Oh, I was a little I was a little quick with the applause. There we go.
Oh.
I'm good.
Very good to have you here. I mentioned to you before, I said, there's a lot of conversations that we've had here on the show that you weren't here for, that she would have been so good for. But, because I love hearing what you have to say. And, we started having another conversation about the whole Keith Lee thing. As a matter of fact, if y'all done, because there has been more that's transpired with Keith Lee. He's been getting death threats. There's been a lot more talk around that whole situation. And, but I want to know from y'all, if y'all tired of hearing about Keith Lee, say I'm done with Keith Lee. Or, I like to talk about it a little bit more.
Let us know,
because we'll go in. Stephanie,
I've got a lot to say.
Stephanie has a lot to say about that Keith Lee situation, and actually some things that I had never quite heard before. Because at this point, when you look at different people and their perspectives, you think you've heard it all, but no, you've shed some light, I will say. But I do want to go ahead, jump right into these conversations. Specifically, let's get started with Sherri Shepherd. Now, I have to say, I really like Sherri Shepherd. I like that she now has her own talk show. And I feel like she was always well known. We've known her as an actress, comedian, and all that. But now that she's in this space, and even outside of The View, but now that she's really in this space, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting to know her a little bit more and like her a bit more. But she opened up on a radio show talking about her personal information. Specifically, she's talking about the fact that she used to be married, and she had another child who is disabled or
special needs.
She has a special needs child, and but the husband that she was married to wanted a son as well. That was not his son. He also wanted a son, and she says that the video is going to explain it, but she's basically talking about her entire personal situation and what happened with that, and why she now pays some money for this child that is not biologically hers. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
But you in a situation that makes everybody mad.
Yeah, I pay child support,
Do you see the baby?
Because the child's not biologically connected to me.
Right.
So what
you like, I'm not getting involved in that.
What people don't know, because you will never see anything other than a smile. I don't let you in on my private life. So what people don't know is every day we argue. Every day we argued about this. He wanted a baby. I did not want a baby because I have Jeffrey with special needs. I was tired.
Right.
And he was like, it ain't fair that you have a baby. Do you have a son and I don't have a son? And I mean, it literally, basically, he was like, well, if you don't have my baby, then... So when somebody do this,
right,
that means I'm going to go, and it was so public, our wedding, because he wanted to have it on TV. He wanted to have a big wedding, which the IRS is still auditing me for. And so it was just like, it was so public, it was an embarrassment. So basically, I had consigned myself to, okay, we're going to have this baby, and I'm just being unhappy for the rest of my life and have an affair. Because I said, well, how are we going to take care of this child? Because I'm working 2 jobs already. I'm doing the Newlywed Game. I'm doing a viewer. He's like, we'll get a second nanny. How are we supposed to afford a second nanny?
Oh, I'm just supposed to work myself to death.
And then I told him, because he was an out-of-work writer, and I said, well, you got to get a job writing. And he was like, no, because if we have a baby, I'm staying home. No, I don't do stay-at-home husbands. I do husbands that work. But he was adamant, I'm not going to Hollywood to get no job. I'm going to stay home. And, well, then how am I supposed to? Then that means I got to work. So people don't understand. We were having those kind of arguments every day, and then I gotta go on the air and be happy. So I probably say, fine, I didn't pick the surrogate, I didn't pick the donor who had the egg, I didn't pick the gestational carrier, I was not involved. So when I finally put him out, because I found out he was doing all kinds of stuff, he said, I said, well, I'll pay you $2,000 a month, $2,500 for your son, and if if you need anything, if I'm working, I'll be the fairy godmother. I'll come, hey, Kevin, I'll come in here and I'll help you out. And then he was like, no, I want $10,000 a month. And he said, if your son go to private school.
Okay. She goes on to say that her ex-husband was telling her, well, if your son goes to private school, I want my son to go to private school. And she's like, but I have a special needs child. If he didn't have special needs, he would be in a public school. But yeah, she said she offered to pay $2,000 a month for the child that she is not even connected to. But he says no. He wanted $10,000 a month. Ultimately, she wound up paying a little over $4,000 a month. But give me your thoughts. I mean, Stephanie, I look in your face. Okay, Stephanie, I'm looking in your face. Just tell me your thoughts on this entire situation.
Yeah, my thoughts on this. If you're gonna have standards, you gotta stick to them. And so the one thing that really, really, I feel for Sherri, I truly do. But the one thing is, like, she did not want this child. Mm-hmm. She to the point where she's not even biologically connected. So she didn't even provide the egg for this child.
Right.
She's not there she didn't pick the donor. She didn't pick anything. Like, she was so hands off. If you were going to do that, why deal with it? Because you had a wedding? That's not a good enough reason for you to allow yourself to be put in that situation. Because now, because this happened while you were married, you technically are the parent. Still, whether you want to be or not. It's if it was a man who didn't want a child, and you did all this while y'all were married, he's still now the father. So you're still technically the mother. And now there's a child out there who probably doesn't know they're a real mother, or the mother they were supposed to have, or they're probably super confused about what's going on and not feeling wanted. And she should have, I believe, stuck to her guns and not allowed herself to be pushed over, And I also think that this is a conversation that should have been had prior.
Well, I mean, according to her, she sounded like they used to have this conversation every single day, that they would argue about these types of conversations.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten married if I had those conversations and we weren't on the same page.
You're saying they should have talked about this even before they got married. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't help but see this comment. Forrest Harrison says, wow, it sounds like he set her up.
Oh, he absolutely did.
That hurts my entire heart when you think about it that way, and the possibility of that happening. That just makes me really sad. But to your point, I'm like, what's up, Sherri? Why did you do it, Sherri? Why did you just go for it? And she, to her point, she says, he was like, well, if you don't give me the kid, then I'm just gonna,
then you go do it.
Yeah.
Go cheat. Go do that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, then you'll be responsible for that child if you cheat on me and have a child with someone else.
Yeah.
Not me. Like, she was like, oh, I don't have a stay-at-home husband. I have a husband that works. And then let him stay at home anyway.
Yeah.
So she's just not, she let this man run over her. And I'm so disappointed.
And now to have a child that you're paying over $4,000. Now, I mean, I understand, she makes a lot of money now. She's been doing well for herself for some years, but it doesn't matter. When you put things in perspective, we talked a lot about child support on this show, and, what's an appropriate amount. No one can really dictate what the absolute, amount is that it's appropriate per child, because everybody's in a different situation. But, she says $2,000, $2,500 a month was reasonable.
Yeah.
And he says $10,000 a month. That literally sounds like he set her up. Let's go ahead and take this call from Fahima. She wants to jump in on the conversation. Hello to you, Fahima.
Greetings, Robin, and also to your guests. I've been following Sherri Shepherd and Kim Whitley since they were on the Tom Joyner show, and she's talked about this, and I really think Lamar Sally was he was a shyster, and he really set her up, as Forrest had said in the chat. But technically, because she was married and the child was conceived while they were married, she's technically responsible. And I thought it was quite generous of her to agree to pay $2,500. But he obviously was a shyster. He wanted to be a stay-at-home parent. It was just outrageous. But she's talked about this, and I just think it's a raw deal. So all she could do is use it as material for her stand-up comedy to generate more money.
Fahima, that's a good point. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that it's possible for her to go back to court and finagle a different kind of deal? Think about this. They had the child. They separated when the child was 3 months old. The child literally does not know who she is, and he is trying to get her to have a relationship with his son and her son, and she's like, no, that's not beneficial whatsoever. But to continue to pay over $4,000 a month for 18 years, think about that. I mean, is there some way that you know of or that you believe that she can get out of this and sort of make another arrangement?
To be honest, the only one that could possibly go back to court would be Lamar Sally, because he can contend that she's making more money. This was part of the divorce agreement, that she would pay the child support. I think, and so, he'll be 18 pretty soon, and she won't be responsible anymore. She's lucky that she didn't have to pay him alimony. I'm hoping she's not paying him alimony. But the only one that could go back to court would be him to ask for more money. I don't know if he'd get it, but he can contend that she's making more money.
Right.
But it was part of the divorce decree.
Well, thank you so much for your comment, Fahima, and I say take it to the stage, Sherri. Take it to the stage.
That's the best thing to do, because if you take it to court, like Fahima said, she's gonna end up paying more.
She'll pay more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really strange situation. I mean, to pay, it's like a bill. Like literally a bill that you have to pay. That's a lot of money to pay every single month for 18 years. It's just very interesting. Marcus says Sherri tried to save a marriage that was doomed at the start. I wouldn't wish what she's going through on anybody. That's really just a very sad situation. And if he did set her up, that's trifling. Sorry, Mr. Sally. That's trifling. Okay, so let's talk about Jackie Christie. Do you know who Jackie Christie is?
I do. I do know who Jackie Christie is.
Okay, yeah. Jackie Christie, nice woman. I really like her a lot. We've just known each other in these Hollywood streets, but she's actually a basketball wife. That's where most people know her from. Mm-hmm. And she's also the wife of Doug Christie, who is a former NBA player. He's a coach now. She has some businesses, but primarily it is basketball wives. Mm-hmm. That is sort of her claim to fame. Well, she even has mentioned on the show that they get married every single year, which means they're always planning a wedding. Think about how long it actually takes to pull off a wedding. I mean, it's a good 6 months to a year, right? So they're always planning a wedding. And she says that actually helps her. That's one of the keys to their success. 28 years, I mean, you kind of have to say, you may have to concede that point. Like, maybe that is what's working for their relationship. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but share what you feel.
I haven't been married 28 years, so she may be onto something. But that aside, I feel like that's not the only thing. Jackie is a nut when it comes to her husband, okay? She does not play when it comes to that man. And I think that all things combined is probably how they lasted almost 30 years now.
Yeah, good point. She says when Stephanie says that she's a nut, like regarding her husband, she travels a lot with him. She is very, I don't know if you would say it may be territorial, or I don't know that you would say jealous or envious. I mean, not envious of him, but she just has tabs on her man.
Yeah,
she's got tabs on him.
Yeah,
territorial. Cuff it.
Yeah, he couldn't leave if he wanted to. I don't think.
I don't know if this is just a very, if this is a special, situation, if they're just unique in that, but it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, he seems to be going along with it as well. He seems like, I'm down to have this wedding again for 28 years now.
Yeah. I love weddings, so I probably would love to have a wedding every year. I probably could not afford to have a wedding every year, and my sanity probably could not afford for me to have a wedding every year. So, I mean, if it works for them, more power to them. But I think it's a little bit more than just the wedding.
Just having a wedding, okay.
Absolutely.
And spending that type of time together, because she says that whenever he travels, 80% of the time, 90%, she's traveling with him.
Yeah, she does not play when it comes to Doug, and I think that dynamic and just that there is no room for him to want to leave. And she definitely doesn't want to leave. Yeah. So it's going to be definitely till death do them part for sure.
Okay, so you think that they're in it for the long haul.
They're in it.
28 years, I mean, I can't lie. I mean, it seems like you are in it for the long haul. But also, we're talking about a couple who obviously 28 years they've been together, so they kind of come from that old school, and so I wonder what other kinds of things, because you're right, I don't know that it's just getting married every year that's holding them together. It's got to be something else. Some of these other standards, marital standards that come from the old school that you would think it applies actually to their to their marriage.
Right. I know she's written a book before, and I haven't read it, so she may have discussed this before, but I would love to know, like, what are the other things that she does that are unique to her relationship. And they may be kind of wild, maybe too wild for me, so I don't know. But
Well, she did. And what I'm referring to is Jackie Christie recently did a sit-down interview for Essence magazine, and she's actually doing a whole tour surrounding this Basketball Wives thing. She and I have not had an opportunity to speak yet, but I'm actually scheduled to have a conversation with her. So maybe I'll ask her, like, well, what's up, Jackie? Like, what more, what other things do you have going on here? Andy, did you want to jump in on this?
Just real quick, I think their relationship is based off of fear. I think Doug Christie is afraid of his wife, and I think the wife is pretty much very manipulative. I think she's insecure because, you know what I'm saying, he was a basketball player or whatnot, and he could pretty much have any chick that she wants. So it's all based off of fear, and it works for him.
Whatever works. If you got to find a man that fears
Did
you,
Andy
I guess.
just come in here and drop a mic? Did he drop a mic? I mean, you were so assertive in that. That was very affirmative, Andy.
Do I need to find a man that fears me? Is that what?
I don't know. Is that what works?
I just remember the saga back then when Doug Christie was playing, and just the fact that she was there in the locker room. I mean, you're there every place that he is.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like that's just a little bit extreme. I'm sorry.
Oh,
and I just think
wow.
Doug Christie, I mean, I'm sure that there's some love, but maybe he's also afraid of his wife to a degree. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Well, listen, we will continue to have this conversation on the other side because I want to get to it. And I'm also going to mention something that there's a transgender woman named T.S. Madison and what she says to the new generation. And she basically is talking about in order to lock your relationship down. I'll get to what she said on the other side. Yeah. Right now, though, we've got news, traffic, and sports. You are listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Denzel Whitaker, and I'm on the Raw Report.
More of the Raw Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Tyreek Way, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The mayor of South Suburban Riverdale, Illinois, is facing federal charges for perjury and obstruction of justice. A federal grand jury indicted Lawrence Jackson, who is black, and accused him of lying under the oath in a civil deposition and obstruction lawsuit that claimed the mayor retaliated against a former city vendor. The indictment says the Tri-State Disposal filed a civil lawsuit against Riverdale and Jackson in 2018, accusing the mayor of retaliating against them by refusing to renew its garbage collection contract with the city. The man who grew a fuel oil company in Baltimore into a top national business, Will Dexter Jackson, who was black, has passed away from a stroke at the age of 76. He started Jackson Oil with his father, and by 1982, Black Enterprise magazine named the company one of the top 10 growth companies. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Over in Arcadia, continue to be advised that in Santa Anita Park, all the way until tomorrow evening, races will be all day, and this is because of the 2023 Breeders' Cup World Championships, and expect heavy traffic throughout the area. Over in West LA, a carpool lane is still blocked with a stall on the 405 South at the 10 interchange. Also in Culver City's 405 South before Venice Boulevard, watch for an accident currently in the center divide while stop traffic continues from Wilshire Boulevard. In Glendale, right lane is blocked with an accident on the 134 West before Highway 2 Harvey Drive interchange, and heavy traffic is coming from Del Mar Boulevard, California interchange.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 five-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen can join an exclusive club if he gets 70 receiving yards Monday night against the Jets in New York. Allen is 70 yards away from reaching 10,000 in his 11-year career. Only 5 other active wide receivers have made it to the 10,000-yard mark. Allen would also join Hall of Fame tight end Antonio Gates as the only Chargers players to have 10,000 yards in receiving. Look for backup Brett Ripien to be the Rams starting quarterback for Sunday's game in Green Bay. Matthew Stafford has not practiced all week because of a sprained ligament in his right thumb. The Lakers start a 4-game road trip tomorrow night at Orlando, 4 p.m. tip-off. Tomorrow night is 7 here on KBLA. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for Out of Bounds. You can join the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is offering health plans starting at $0 a month. Each plan provides benefits including $0 preventive services, 24/7 telehealth services, around-the-clock nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, and more. Shop and compare premium silver plans with $0 deductibles to help meet your health goals. Ready to shop? Visit us online at lacarecovered.org for a commitment-free instant quote, or speak with us directly at 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered, your affordable path to wellness.
Keeping you informed about what's really going on.
Who's got next?
And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. If you're just joining us, come on up in here. We're talking Sherri Shepherd and the fact that she's paying child support for a child that she is not biologically connected to, nor does she have a relationship with this child. By the way, shout out to Missy Elliott. Thank you for the song. She is being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That is today going down at Barclays Center. That might be happening right now. Actually, right at this moment, they're streaming it live. I told you they're doing that at on Disney Plus. So shout out to Missy Elliott Elliott. And also, it's a happy birthday for Ella May. I forgot that it's her birthday. So shout out to Ella May as well. So we are now talking about the Christies, Doug and Jackie Christie, who get married every single year. They've had 28 weddings. Count them, 28. I don't know if I'm down to do 28 weddings. I mean, I think it's real cute to have, the moments, the key moments, your 10-year or 15 or 20, whatever that is. But, to do something like this every single year, I think is a lot. But on the other side, I was telling you guys that there's a woman, a transgender woman who goes by the name of T.S. Madison, who says that for this new generation, she says, listen, I encourage every woman that I meet to sleep with a man within 7 days. She says, because what if you find yourself spiritually compatible with him? You find yourself, mentally compatible with him. Everything else is fine, but you're not sexually compatible with this person. What's going to happen? You're going to end up frustrated, being, tempted to cheat or something like that. So she says, basically, to make this thing last, you should know within the first 7 days if you are compatible in that way. And I can't even believe that's a piece of advice nowadays. I can't even believe it. I mean, maybe I'm old school too. Give me your thoughts on it.
Okay, so this is where I'm at on it. Now, 7 days, no, absolutely not. I feel that you should have the compatibility, the emotional compatibility, and even the spiritual and all those, that compatibility first before you give your body to some random man a week into knowing him. Or
because at that point you actually don't even know him.
You don't know him.
You don't know.
You don't
him.
know if you like him.
Yeah.
You don't even know if you are spiritually or mentally compatible in 7 days. So why would you? Yeah. Why would you get physical with them? That just actually is kind of crazy. That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, I may not even like you after this, so I'm not doing that in 7 days. Now I do believe that it's okay prior to marriage to make sure you get that out the way, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, well, that goes along with another piece of advice that they say. Some people will say that you should probably live with your
together.
spouse. Yeah, because what if y'all get married? I mean, it really does blow my mind to know that there are people who actually did this. They waited until marriage before sex. They waited until marriage before they moved in with each other and all the things.
And then that's a total stranger by the time you get together and you get married, and you're just like, oh, I can't believe these are the habits you have.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't do that. Absolutely
to me, it's almost, I mean, it's not quite that deep, but it's almost hand in hand with arranged marriages. Because you have an arranged marriage. I am married to you, sir, and I just met you today. I just met you, our parents introduced us last week and now we're married. And then now you got to figure out and oftentimes just navigate your way through this relationship with somebody you don't even like. You know what I mean? So that part is crazy, but I think it's even crazier that T.S. Madison will say,
7 days is too soon.
7 days is just much too soon.
Way too soon, because I don't even know if I know you or like you, or if we're going to last after the first date. So 7 days is way too soon.
It is way too soon. Okay, so we agree with that. Over in the chat, there is a question that says, could renewing your wedding vows every year make your marriage last? 71% of you say no. 29% say yes. Okay. Well, there's that on that. Now, I did want to open up just because I thought what you had to say about Keith Lee, not specifically Keith Lee, but we were talking about the Atlanta kind of culture versus Los Angeles. I mean, and everything in between. I mean, Houston has their own culture. New York has a culture, right? When it comes to eateries, restaurants, and things like that. Did you want to give us your input on what's going on with Keith Lee?
Yeah. So the conversation that we were having is about the culture and why Keith Lee has, he's done this whole food tour thing everywhere. He's gone to New York. He's gone to LA. He's done this thing everywhere. And he didn't have the same experience in most places that he had in Atlanta. And I've lived in Atlanta, currently living in Los Angeles. And one thing I found is that there is definitely a different culture. I understand that Atlanta has their celebrities and all that, as does LA. But there's this very specific difference in the way things are done in LA. And if you're from LA, you live in LA, then you probably notice these differences too when it comes to celebrity culture and these eateries. And one thing that stood out for me, for example, is how Keith Lee went to a few places. One of the places I actually had a similar experience, but He went to these places and their wait time was 2.5 hours, and they don't take phone orders and just all these little random crazy rules and things that would never fly in LA. And I realized that they wouldn't, because we just don't have time for that. You know, LA is a place where, you know, first of all, your competition is literally around the corner.
Absolutely.
So if you tell me the wait is 2 hours, I will tell you that I am going to go hit the next place, because you're not that good. You're just, nothing is that good for a 2-hour wait. But also, I find that the thing with Atlanta is a few things. One, people will wait 2.5 hours because they do not, subconsciously, they don't realize that they deserve better. They think that that's normal to have to wait for something, quote unquote, good. Whereas in LA, we don't do that. We feel we are too good to have to wait for things, like, you know, so you're not going to make me wait. I am far too important for that.
And why is it that everybody in LA thinks that they are the most important? I think everyone here feels like, I know this person, or, you know, my network, right? And even if it's not them themselves, it's like my network is heavy, so you shouldn't be talking to me like that.
Exactly. So that would never fly here.
Right. It's so
Whereas
funny.
in Atlanta, they may put on that outward, I'm important, but deep down they know that they're not. And so you have to wait, and they think that that's okay. And like, no, that's actually the opposite of okay. You shouldn't have to wait. I'm like, I understand a 45-minute wait, but I'm not doing 2.5 hours. Another thing that I kind of, like, I was just sitting, like, mulling this stuff over, just trying to figure out why people would wait, and for the food to not even be all that great, and just deal with all these radical rules. And I found that in Atlanta, probably happened around 2011 or so, there's this Atlanta, I say LA's celebrity or network or culture is built on elite and exclusive. So these restaurants, these fancy restaurants and things like that, you know, you can't, if you're not meant to be there, you're not getting in. You're not on a list. You're not a member. You're not getting in. There is no waiting 2.5 hours to get in, because you will not be getting in. You know, and I think people in LA understand that. So we stick to the rivers and the lakes that we're used to in LA. Whereas in Atlanta kind of tried to, because it's the new Atlanta is what they call it, the Real Housewives Atlanta, the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. They see what LA does with the exclusivity, and they try to mimic that with Atlanta, but you can't, because old Atlanta created a culture where your celebrities were in the streets with you. Your celebrities you went to school with them.
Right.
You
Right.
were in the club with them. You mix and mingle with them. Rub elbows with them. So they're not exclusive. They're really your cousins. And so by proximity now, you think you're famous because, I went to this event and I spoke to Nene. So now I'm important because I spoke to Nene.
Yeah, it is certainly different cultures. I mean, even going to Atlanta, you can experience it. You understand, like, it's completely different than LA. And I think you made some great points.
It's
right
very
there.
Long-winded. There's so many.
It's just different
dynamics.
There's very different dynamics here, and so I definitely agree with you on that. When we come forward, though, I do want to get into this conversation about the creator, the founder of the Shade Room, who's talking about the fact that the Shade Room and the culture of it needs to change. There needs to be some changes with that, which is very, very interesting. It's very interesting. I came across that on social media. I'll play what she says, and then I want to have a conversation about it on the other side. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, BB, and you're listening to me on The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're inside The Rob Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by
Hey,
Apple.
Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news.
You're inside the Rob Report.
With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, so we have been having a really great conversation with our contributor of the day, Stephanie O. Talking about Sherri Shepherd. We've talked about the Christies, Jackie Christie, Doug Christie, how they get married every single year. Jackie, let me know, does that really, really work? 28 years of renewing your vows. Does that work? Is that the secret sauce to keeping your marriage together? I'll ask her that at another time. But right now, I do want to get into this clip. And this is the founder of the Shade Room. Her name is Angelica Nwandu? I don't know. Nwandu. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name. I know she just goes by Angelica a lot. But she's talking on a panel about the Shade Room and basically what the culture was like and what it's turning into. Let's take a listen to this.
I used to say we're a mirror for the culture. And I felt justified in that for a very long time until the platform reached this level of influence that I began to say, well, should we be influencing the culture rather than being a reflection of the culture? It's a burden that's placed on Black media to rise above. It is a privilege to be burdened, I'll say. But in year 10, I'm like, yeah, we got to do something different.
Okay. Wow. Just to hear her say, after 10 years, the Shade Room has been around for 10 years, and she didn't even realize it was going to have that type of influence that it does. Just so that we're clear, the Shade Room is the go-to, especially for Black people, especially young Black people. It is sort of the TMZ for everyone else. I mean, the Shade Room is that place that it's the go-to place for obviously gossip, Black culture, entertainment news. They also do some other news. They talk politics on there, breaking news, mass shootings. You'll get that information on the Shade Room a lot of the times first before you get it on other blogs, Yahoo News, or any type of thing like that. So it has become very, extremely influential. And as of right now, let's see. I mean, the Shade Room has an astounding number. They've been number one many, many years. 28.8 million followers. And so that's a massive amount of influence. But the fact that she's saying she wants it to change now because they used to mirror the culture, and now she's basically saying they're influencing the culture. And so now she has to take a step back and look at that. Your thoughts on this? Because I'm kind of blown away by that.
So my thoughts on it. So I used to be, a lot of people don't know this, but Shade Room, and I used to be the face, the writer, the editor, all those things of Baller Alert, what Shade Room was modeled after. So we started.
Baller Alert was the one,
so we were actually the original Shade Room. They used to be followers of ours, and they spurred off, kind of did their own thing, and then what I want to say, I left Baller Alert in 2017, so they've kind of had a little shift in what they've done as well. But what I will say about the Shade Room is I don't agree with the mimicking of the culture. You know, when Shade Room created, it's literally called the Shade Room.
Yeah.
So it was created with the intent of being a certain type of platform. And so when you it doesn't matter what you write about. If you have shade in your name, people are going to go there to expect that. So I don't want to say it's mimicking the culture, because I don't believe that Black culture and Black media has to be messy and shady. You had people like Nicole. You had people like do you remember the Concrete Loop? Concrete Loop. There was lots of Black media that didn't do that. Black in podcasts started to come around, and they didn't do that. So there was lots of there was lots of ways to go, and that was a choice. Now because like she said, they've gotten so big, there is a responsibility now, because I've always said that in order to you can create the media, is what I've always said. Is like in order to control the media, you create the media, you become the media. So you can put out anything and anybody would believe it, especially in this day and age. It's even worse now than it ever has been. So you do have a responsibility to make sure that we are provided with the proper information, and that you are feeding people properly, mentally, knowledge, all those things. That is a responsibility once you become so large. But can you rebrand a site called The Shade Room? I don't think
that's
so.
the problem that I think I'm having. It's almost like we're too far into this.
Too far.
With 28.8 million followers, I mean, I don't know that you can just switch at the drop of a dime. And what I do believe they've tried to do is start to include, other positive and inspirational news. They have their
motivation in the morning, and I get it. And it's one of those things, like, because I've seen it happen, like they'll post someone's child and then the comments will just be nasty. And I'm like,
and many people think that they're doing that intentionally.
Oh, they 100%.
For sure.
It's 100% done intentionally, because it gets you the engagement. You just, it's the celebrity child. They're not your kid, so it doesn't matter. But you're not thinking of these people as human. These celebrities are human still. So it's so far gone. The culture. 28 million people have come to your site every morning, noon, and night. And they're accustomed to acting away. You cannot change them now. It's not going to happen. You'd have to shut down and
start something completely new. Because I do notice, even within all the blogs that you have out there in media, I used to work for the Jasmine brand, and they would be very insistent upon the fact that they were an entertainment news site, not a gossip site, not a blog, like not a gossip blog or anything like that, but an entertainment news. And I got to admit, I only wrote, I was a writer and I was a correspondent for the Jazz Room because I believed in, and I still believe in the fact that they don't do salacious news. I was never a part of that. I never wanted to. I've actually turned down stories because I'm like, I'm not going to write about that or be involved in that. Whether I knew, or if I did, for instance, if I did take a story on, I'm like, well, you got to let me call these people or reach out to these people to see if they wanted to, to verify, clarify or anything like that and give a comment. But you do see the different types. There are several that I will not mention. There are several types of those kind of blogs. that are way messier now than even the Shade Room.
For sure.
And so I don't, unfortunately, it is such a moneymaker. These people have gotten rich, filthy rich off of this type of news.
Yeah. So imagine getting filthy rich and now you want to change after you've made millions
off of the dirt, and then calling it culture.
Yeah, it's not the culture.
It's not.
You
the
have
culture.
like, for example, I used to work at Revolt TV. Revolt TV doesn't do that. That's not what they're known for. There are a lot of media places that aren't known for it, and I don't want to say it's our culture because that's not.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Do you feel that, like Revolt and there are tons of other Black media who are positive, who are going out there and that I would say are part of the culture. Do you feel like there's enough room for them to make it as big as, say, the Shade Room?
I think that media as a whole is changing. So when it comes to being as big as the Shade Room, I don't think anybody is going to be as big as they are doing what they're doing. I think that you have to find the next thing. The thing about the Shade Room is that, like I said, Baller Alert kind of started the Instagram blogging thing. That was new when we started it. Instagram was new when we started doing that. So you've been doing it since the inception of Instagram. It's time to find the next new thing. And when you find it, you can be that big person doing it.
Well, listen, I have faith in whoever is up and coming. Somebody needs to actually represent us very well. Thank you guys so much for joining in to the Rob Report for this entire week. I had a lot of fun, a lot of great conversations. We discussed a lot, so definitely appreciate that. And Stephanie, let everybody know where they can find you online.
As usual, you can find me everywhere at 118 ELEVEN and the number 8.
Y'all go follow her. She be saying some stuff online. She is really, really that one. So definitely appreciate you all. And listen, we right back at it on Monday. You already know. I am your host, Robin Ayers. And remember, today and every day forward to be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Way, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The mayor of South Suburban Riverdale, Illinois, is facing federal